Hello and welcome to yet another cast. For today I have a custom 4v4 played on the Norx Mapgen. Looking at this, I think this is a 15k map due to the border. And we have team 1 down here in the south, team 2 up here in the north. Not quite the usual makeup. Wait, is it that way? Yes it is, okay, yeah. And let's get started with player introductions. Let's start with the westernmost player for the southern team, for team 1. We have the Wheelie, going first land in this military green, playing Aeon. To the south of that, in this burgundy red, going Cybran, we have Sladder Noob, opening first land. I'm probably gonna refer to him as Sladder. And then to the south of that, in grey, going Seraphim and opening first land, we have Truth. And to the south of that, in the Regal Purple, we have Insidious Noob, probably just gonna refer to them as Insidious, going UF and opening first land. Now, for the northern team, on their easternmost position, in blue, opening first land as Aeon, we have Terrari. Then to the north of that, in this very dark greyish green, we have Balanced Slave, going Cybran and opening first land. Then to the north of that we have, in this neon yellow, or this lime color, we have Mites, playing Seraphim and opening first land. And last but not least, to the north of that, in red, and opening first land, going Aeon, we have Drandan. Right. Game balance is quite even at 95%, 94%, not 95. And let's take a look at Reclaim. Bunch of Reclaim down the middle line, as well as around these plateaus at the sides, with some bigger clumps also directly in the front of the bases of the two middle players, if you look at that. With some... well, it did look bigger than it actually is, but yeah, it's mostly just 10 rock clumps. I don't have the Reclaim grouping enabled because I personally don't really like it, so not sure how much that would be, but can't imagine it to be too much. Though maybe enough for something like 1 or 2 T2 maxes. It's definitely still gonna help out with early economy. Now we have some early raids coming out from Terrari, with some flares and spirits. Picking up one NG here. And this one picking up an NG right here. The NG trying to go for the reclaim, but the flare was able to move out just in time. And a raid out from Insidious coming back, trying to intercept that. This flare down here, picking up another NG, and I just realized I didn't have the minimap enabled, sorry about that. We can also see a similar raid up in the further north coming out from Trandon against the Wheelie. And the Magmarine out from Insidious was trying to intercept that flare, but was not actually able to achieve that. I think one reason is that the flare is, well, the flare is heavily wetted, and I think the flare also has just more HP than the Magmarine. Yeah, the Magmarine has 60, the flare has over double that now. The old Magmarine, if I remember correctly, does deal more damage. But I guess just the HP pool countering that. But the flares out from Trandon up here quickly cleaned up just by flares out from the Wheelie. So nothing to worry about there. And just some Mantis fighting with that BAM. Not really that important with. And we have a bomber now out from the Wheelie. Let's see. Does this get anything important? We have some nice NGs right there, and not sure where that is currently queued. NT from Trandon already on that, so not sure if it will actually get a drop off. doesn't. That bomber completely wasted. Unfortunate. But it does happen. And lab action continuing along the sides. This might still be the same flare, not too sure. It has 200 mass killed. And 3 ranks of veterancy. Just got off another NG. 300 mass killed on a lab. That's just ridiculous. And micro stopped. Sad. Though that one definitely paid for itself. Now, small push coming out from Sledo right here in the middle, but there's already a counterforce out from mates. That is just taking out these Mantas quite easily. By the looks of it. Now I can hear T1 Bomber right here out from Balance Slave. I guess just to defend against the push out from Truth on this side. Truth also using their commander quite aggressively. Well, I mean, it's not really, there's no reason to not go aggressively with the commander as there's currently nothing really threatening that. Let's see, do we have any gun upgrades coming out? Not by the looks of it, but another run by of a few labs getting right into the back of Insidious' base, taking out 2 maxes. Well, that sucks. And this flare focusing on the wrong unit, probably not actually going for the energy, but rather the max. And taking that out. Taking out the energy. And dodging some Marine fire. With some godly micro. Taking out the Marine. But probably just going to die to that striker. Yes. Of course, this game is rather high rated, so you would expect some pretty good micro. Now we have gun going out for Truth and Balance Slave. A gun upgrade going out for mates. And gun range going out for the wheelie. I expect that there will probably be a gun speed upgrade following that. Well, no there isn't, but to be fair there is currently a push coming in on that, so there's a good reason not to go for that. Trandon on the other hand going for gun speed first. I expect that they may be going for gun range afterwards, though can't really tell now. We already have some places out for the wheelie. With some T2 production, let's take a look at production capabilities of other players. T2 is also out for Sledo, though he is currently only building T1 spam by the looks of it, but is bringing some T2 energies to the front to with some Sobras, and never mind, there are some fire beaters. Probably gonna miss their use, if they can actually be used properly. But we will see about that. Currently only T1 out for Truth. And by looks of it also only T1 out for Insidious. Also only T1 out for Terrari. And for Balance Slave. T2 is out for mates. And there's also T2 out for Tranda. What I did miss was a small skirmish between the commanders of Truth and Balance Slave right here, leaving a decent reclaim field, which currently seems to have gone in favor of Truth. Though can't tell for sure, Terrari going for gun range now after having finished gun speed, and I suspected the wheelie now going for gun speed after having after being a bit more safe with that gun range upgrade, while Trandon is going for gun range. So I was correct assuming that the upgrade paths that these players would take. Small run by of these places now out from the wheelie going a bit into the back line of Mace, cutting off the reinforcing units that were coming in. But some spam is now just pulling back to take those out. Place is not very well armored, being more of a raiding unit. Very fast, but not really that tanky. And thus dying rather easily. Though they have some pretty decent range. Another push coming out from Balance left right here by the looks of it. Actually quite aggressive with that. Gun upgrade going out for Insidious now. And Balance Slave deciding to not continue to push on. Reasonable call considering the fact that there is a gun com and a pretty sizable force, a not negligible force I think would be one of the ways I was trying to go for the term. But whatever. Anyway, a notable force of some spam coming in from Insidious to support. Though that is now facing T2 out from Balance Slave. Yes, there is T2 right here. And also T2 production right here in the back. You can also see T2 currently going T3 out for Terrari. So Terrari apparently just skipping T2 altogether and currently still only T1 out from Insidious by the looks of it. Let's see, we have T2 out for Truth. There don't seem to be any upgrades to T3 currently going on there. No T3 up, going up for Sledo. And no T3 going up for Balance, not Balance Slave, for the Wheelie. Confusing the names, sorry about that. Now, commanders of Truth and Balance Slave somewhat skirmishing, putting in some damage into each other, but outside of the ranges of their respective spam forces, so nothing really happening there. Saying that, the spam for Balance Slave is now moving in, and I think that will probably be the end of Truth, as there's a whole bunch of T2 in there, and that ACU is losing HP very rapidly. And I think the amount of Ishwas in there is smaller than the amount of other T2 from Balance Slave had, but apparently I was wrong. Yeah, no, the army for Balance Slave has actually completely evaporated. Well, don't mind me talking absolute bullshit right here. But Terrari was also moving in, trying to put in some harassing fire with that ACU. And Insidious was thinking about pushing in as well, but decided to rather retreat again, pull back a bit. Though the army was used to also get Balance Slave out of there and save Breath. Now, has anything happened with the Beetles? Right here out from Slado. Maybe I just missed it, I don't know. I think those may have been, that may have been just beetle explosions, so I expect they have just been killed off from range. A fire beetle is very hard to use correctly. Now, to really control Kagan there, because that ACU was basically doomed. He just walked in through the lines of Trandon, or got surrounded by Trandon, not too sure what happened there. Because I was paying attention to other stuff at the time, sorry about that. But anyway, walked past that and ended up being surrounded with a gun com and a whole bunch of blazes, thus not actually able to... thus basically doomed to die anyway. And in order to just take out as many units as possible, just a controlled suicide coming out to maybe take out as many of these blazes as possible. I assume. Maybe it was also just to deny the score for the player kill. Something also not too rare in this community. Though this will probably be equalized very soon as Sledo is pushing mates. Well, never mind, it's not being equalized because there are some reinforcing units, though mostly MMLs coming out from mates, that are forcing Sledo back a bit. And with that, the ACUs are not really tanking that much, seem to say for right now. Saying that, Sledo is moving back in onto that commander. This time there are no reinforcing units, though there is no T2PD that has been built up, which is quickly being bombed down by T1AA, not T1AA, T1 bombers. But again, Sledo pulling back to avoid just dying very stupidly to PD and reinforcing spam, with mates very low. Potentially still dying because that's a lot of Yenzines, and of course that T2PD just pouring in damage into that ACU. And now also places coming in from Tryandan. Sledo's ACU losing quite a bit of HP on that, going into the red, below 3k. Okay, back up, there's the rank of veterancy. Pushing that ACU back up to 6k for a moment. But it's already back down into the red and below 3k. Continuing to take a lot of fire. Though I think it has gotten into the range of sufficient PD to survive this. With most of these spells now going down. Yes. Drift saying going in. Yeah, by the looks of it, there is a push going on this side as well. Currently with Drift and Insidious both trying to coordinate their attack and deal as much damage as possible to balance Slave's position. And they were successful in taking out multiple factories. Though there is now also some T2PD used to defend out from Terrari, who is still taking quite a fire dose, and yeah, no, I think that AC will probably survive. Now, Nano going out for both mates and Sledo noob, or Sledo. Both ACUs have gotten quite close to dying, so fair enough. Just wondering, I guess they just want that additional HP pool and regen to get their health back up. And let's see. Insidious tanking some Oblivion Fire right here. Truth taking some fire from surplus turrets and a bunch of rhinos. Never mind, the rhinos retargeted onto the Issuers. But I don't think this push will go any further, though. There were more factories taken out, which will in the longer term maybe provide an advantage in unit production. Though on the other hand, those factories can easily be rebuilt. And I'm pretty sure those were only T1s, so basically obsolete at this point anyway. We do see some Harbingers and even a Sprite Striker Sniper Bot out from Terrari now. Those will be rather annoying to deal with, though I was about to say there is some T2PD out from Insidious. However, that is easily just taken out by this superior range of the Sniper Bots, which provide quite high alpha strike at very high ranges, but with just 550 HP, basically no HP pool at all. But Insidious seems to have made the push, or the yes, the push to Tier 2 at some point this game, and even Tier 3 now, building up some Percivals that are moving to the front. Percivals being a rather effective use against the Harbingers, with their very high HP pool and high tank and high alpha strike, and due to that also decently high DPS. Though due to being reliant on alpha strike, of course, only against very healthy units, very effective, or not very healthy, very tank units effective, and very ineffective against T1. And you can see the damage with shields being taken out in one shot from these Percivals, and the Harbingers also going down rather quickly to that Percifier, forcing a retreat out from Terrarity right now. Is this flank looking? Right, Micro on the base that once belonged to the Wheelie is now taken over by Slado. And we have Shit going out for Triandan. That ACU also does have advanced range, so higher range than a normal, than the gun ACUs for the other factions. Something to be wary of. That can be quite suppressive in the early game, however, we do see Harbingers out for Slado now. And also Rhinos coming in. Currently no move on to Cypher T3 from Slado, fair enough, as there's really no need currently with the Harbingers on the field. And thus the Aeon T3. But Triandan forced to cancel that upgrade. And now being pushed by the Nanocom out from Slado, which is a lot tankier and will probably be able to just walk down that ACU when it comes to it. So you may see Triandan going down. Though, yes, there it is. But Slado was still forced to move back a slight bit due to all this T1 PD that was firing into the ACU, which is providing a lot of firepower. T1 PD very powerful, providing very large amounts of DPS. But with that, the playing field on or the amount of players has been equalized now between both teams. And Slado is now continuing to push on towards mains, who does have Nano, though due to less sweat is actually not quite, doesn't have the same tankiness or regen as the Cypher ACU out for Slado, thus being at a slight disadvantage. Though we also see sniper bots and some offense to counter coming out from mains. However, that ACU is shedding HP very quickly, and I don't think that it will be able to survive this push. It's going down below 5k into the red, and that goes. As suspected. Though with that, Slado's army also died, so he is deciding to just pull back into the reinforcing Harbingers that will be providing some supporting fire. But we're looking at a from the 3-4 that we had after death of the Wheelie, now quickly a 2v3 that is actually in favor of the Southern team. A very aggressive push now also going into Terrari's firebase up here, with Terrari down into the red, and I think the shield has collapsed on that ACU. Yep. So that ACU is very vulnerable, and the Sims also just failed, so Terrari about to go down. There he goes. And that only leaves Balance Slave. Balance Slave against Truth, Insidious and Slado. That is not looking very good. Now let's take a look at economy. Team 1 also had on economy around double the income of Balance Slave. Well, okay, I think that may have been power lock related since I just jumped up. Maybe not quite that bad, but still around, well, around 80 mass, 80 to 70 mass difference in favor of Team 1. So in the long term, Team 1 will probably just continue to outscale Balance Slave, and with that, I suspect that that may also be the way this game goes. Though I have to point out, I do usually check my replays, but this has been a while since I checked it, so I no longer remember how this game actually goes, so, well, could still go either way. Truth currently being very ballsy with the commander, walking into the servos turrets and having taken quite a bit of fire from that. Though with 5 ranks of veterancy, a quite decent regen and HP grounded ACU with 100 regen and 20k HP. But we also now see bricks on the field for Balance Slave, and those will definitely prove to be very, very dangerous for a commander, as they are very tanky and have some pretty high DPS with some pretty high range. Let's see, does Truth have enough E-Storage to overcharge that? I count 3 E-Storages, so I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think 3 E-Storages is actually enough to overcharge a brick. Well, you can still overcharge a brick, but it's not enough to kill it with one shot. Some more would be required for that. Though there are some supporting offense now coming in, but the army for Truth is quickly dying, and yeah, I don't think that ACU will survive against this amount of bricks. It also is at full veterancy, so it is not going to get any additional bumps of HP that may keep it alive. And I was correct in that Truth dies to that, and apparently Insidious also died to something. Not too sure what it was, maybe you can point it out to me due to just minimap watching. But with that we're actually down to a 1v1 between Slado and Balance Slave. So the game's still equalizing a bit more. Let's take another look at economies. Team 1 still ahead, so Slado still having the advantage there. And with that probably being able to shoot out more units more quickly. Truth saying chicken time. Is there a chicken? No, there's not chicken started yet. Well, never mind, there is a chicken started now. Let's see, is there an experimental going out for Balance Slave? No. And there is a quite annoying run by right here on the side. That is just pushing past the base that I believe belonged to Brandon at the start. With a whole bunch of Harbingers and some Rhinos. Killing off quite a bit of PD, multiple maxes. We see 3 lost maxes right here. Another max is going down here. A lot of engines did go down, and a factory. Okay, yeah, that's definitely painful. And though Slado also being very ballsy with that commander, pushing, having that quite close to the front line, not with, without a lot of supporting spam, especially in the T3 regard, now facing off against a few bricks. Though due to inheriting all the bases, I expect that Slado may have a lot more E-Storage. I count 3 E-Storages in his main base. Of course the 3 E-Storages I pointed out earlier in the base of Truth. And probably in the base of all the other players as well, since Overcharge is quite powerful and these pros are aware of that. The GC had been started up here, but currently abandoned in construction, probably to finish that chicken. As I believe a chicken do actually be cheaper than the GC. A chicken is 26,500 versus, let's see, 27,500, so 1,000 less mass. Not too sizable a difference, but well, I guess also just down to personal preference in that case. I think the GC would provide a lot more HP per mass with that, but not too important. The chicken will also do the trick, I think. And when one experimental finishes, the next one won't be far behind. That's usually how stuff like that goes. Okay, slowing down a bit, we see a small push out here from Balance Slave. And apparently a small run by up here I completely missed, where not currently anything to properly counter that. Though there are some T1 bombers trying to defend against that, to put in some damage over the top. With, well, those outbreaks, so they are quite tanky. Thus there is some limited success in that. The chicken does finish. And the run by up here actually continued, taking out a whole lot of maxes looking at that. That probably damaged the economy of Balance Slave quite badly, and yes, he is now below 300 mass income, with Saddle doubling that, or more than doubling that to be fair. T1 bombers continuing, most of those bricks have actually been taken out now. And yeah, those will just die now. There are some loyalists moving in, probably because they are a lot cheaper than bricks and a lot faster, thus providing a easier solution for this run by. Though, as was visible with the loyalists just dying, they are not quite as tanky, thus taken out quite easily by the brick being very effective in countering the small raiding style T3 units like the Loyalist or also the Titan for UEF. And the chicken continuing to now pushing up, taking out a few bricks that were on the defensive, but there's not much in terms of proper defenses up here for Balance Slave. So that chicken will probably just push through that complete front line without taking much damage, if it is actually moving, which it currently is not. Yeah, there it is. And okay, I was about to say it's pulling back for some reason, but no, it's just a scuffed pathfinding. What a surprise. One of the big weaknesses of this game is that the pathfinding is completely fucked due to just the age of the game and the pathfinding algorithms that were used at the time not being quite as effective as modern ones. And it can be apparent, especially when pathing around mountain ranges or having larger armies that you are trying to move. Unless you're using formation move commands, since those do generally have an easier time pathing, since the entire formation is just moving on and pathfinding as one big blob. Like as one, basically treated as one unit as far as I'm aware. Though downside of that is that those kind of move commands are generally a bit slower due to using the slowest unit as their base speed. And the fact that you can't really set up the way that the formation should put in some units with some units that you may want more upfront being further back and the other way around. But anyway, chicken continuing to push in, already 19k mass kit and 1 rank of veterancy. I think that was the HQ for the Cyclone production out from Balance Slave that died. Might have also... I think this was the HQ, but yeah, that also already died, so whatever. So no more T3 Cyclone production out for Balance Slave. And the original core base of Balance Slave now completely cored out. with pushes basically coming in from all sides by the looks of it onto the stuff from Bound Slaves, so not looking too great. Now Chicken has finished Force Ladder, and it is moving forward on the other flank. GC is still not continued, so I don't think that will actually be built. And where's the first chicken? It's right here. Though the second one has reached the front line here and is currently helping to defend against the small push that has been built up by Bound Slave, maybe in a last-ditch effort to try and achieve something. But not greatly successful, taking out some stuff, but I don't think that will be enough to equalize the playing field. Bound Slave now down below 200 mass income, losing a lot of additional maxes, and the ACU being chased down by this army of, well, a bunch of Lobos and a chicken. I was about to say impressive that this Lobo is actually 5 ranks of veterancy, but it's only 500 mass killed. I always forget to how cheap Lobos actually are, or general T1 RT. So yeah, that isn't actually that impressive when dealing with later tier units. Let's see. T3 has apparently also been achieved by Sladder, and I don't see any T3 air out for Bound Slave. But I don't think that will be any that will have any major effect on the play or the game. And thus, yes, Bound Slave did just recall, and with that, the game is over. I hope you enjoyed this cast. This was not streamed live, but I usually stream most of my casts live, so link to that will still be in the description. Yeah, if you liked it, leave a like. There will be more casts like these going up, so if you want to be notified when those come out, you can subscribe. It's also helpful to just find this channel again more easily. But anyway, hope to see you again in a future cast or on a stream, and till next time, bye!